Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Sage Evolution webinar. Today, we'll be looking at CRM, salesforce automation, setup, workflow processing, customer contracts, and Outlook integration plus benefits. My name is Sipesihle Mlangeni, and I'm your host for today's webinar. Let's start by looking at our CRM, which is also known as Contact Management in Evolution. What is contact management? Contact management is a tool that lets you manage your interaction between you, your customers, your potential customers, and your fellow company members. In Sage Evolution, we've got two versions of contact management. We've got Contact Management Basic and Contact Management Premium. Let's check this information. You can go to your Help and About. And as you can see, I'm registered for Contact Management Basic, and I'm also registered for Contact Management Premium. The difference between the two is that Contact Management Premium adds the following features to Basic. Number one is escalation groups. Number two, it's workflows. Number three, it's salesforce automation. Number four, it's contract invoicing. Number five, knowledge base. And number six, the document list. And over and above that, you've got your Sage Services function. Let's start by looking at our document list. To navigate to your document list, you go to your maintenance, click on contact management, and then you go to incidents, and then you go to your document list. You can place your documents in a shared folder called this document list, and the system allows all agents to view these documents anytime. And documents can be a Word document, a PDF document, or an Excel sheet. One thing you need to configure on your contact management defaults, incidents, documents, is this storage location. So you need to make sure that all users have access to this location and they've got read and write permissions so that they can save documents to this folder. But if you want to add documents to the system that can be used within the system, you can do that here on your document list. To add a document is fairly easy, and I'll take you through that. But before we do that, we need to configure our document groups and our document category. I'm going to add a new group, and I'm going to call this group quotations. So for all quotations that I'm going to add to the system, I want the system to come and add these here. I'm going to point this to my documents, and I'm going to click on OK. Once you've created a document category group, you should link this group to a document category. So I'm going to add a new one and say quotation 002, as we already have one there. Say this is quotes, and I'm going to link this to my quotations category group, and also specify the location. So when I add a new document under my document list, the system will prompt me to select a specific category. So as you can see, I've selected my Word document, which is the July assessment, and I'm going to link this to my category and say this is a quote, and then give it a description and say and I'm gonna click on OK. So it's as easy as that. So let's say I wanted to link this quote 1 to an incident. The steps that you would follow are: you go to your transactions, you go to contact management, you go to new incident, and you click on this icon here. And as you can see, I can see all my documents from my document list. So I can just click on the document that I want to attach. And as you can see, this will be part of the incident as it moves through to the next agent. I'm not going to post this for now. Now that we understand what the document list is used for, we should look at our workflows. The first thing you need to set up with your workflow is that you need to set up your workflow steps and then link your workflow steps to a workflow. To do that, we navigate to contact management, you go to your incidents, and you go to your workflow steps. Just going to create 3 steps for one workflow. So we'll say the first step is number 1. The first step is to, let's say, call clients. And the second step is to send feedback email. And the third step is to close incident with resolution. Now that we've got our steps, we can now go on and link these steps to our workflow. So I'm going to go and create a new workflow. And I'm going to just call this my contact management workflow. This is not a purchase order workflow. I'll also go through a purchase order workflow. And I'm going to add my steps. So I'm going to add my step number 1, which is to call my client. I'm going to assign this to an agent group, but I can also assign this first step to an agent, but I'm going to choose an agent group. And I'm going to say send this first step to the admin clerk. I'm gonna allow reject and allow close after reject, and I'm gonna click on OK. For the second step, I'm going to link this to my warehouse manager group, and I'm going to click on OK. Then let's get our last step. And I'm going to send this to my directors, and I'm going to click on OK. So we want to see how incidents are allocated to this group or to these agents within this group when an incident is sent to this group. So to check that information, we're going to navigate to Administration, Agents, and then we're going to go to Agent Groups, and I'm going to look at my admin tab group. I'm going to look at my assignment tab, and as you can see, whenever there's an incident assigned to this group, the system will always send those incidents to Jade. We've got other options as well, but this is how I've set up mine. So we know that the first step, or the first step in the workflow, is going to go to Jade. The second step is going to go to Sizwe. And then the third step is going to go to Brandy. Okay. Once you've created your workflow and your workflow steps, you actually need to link those steps and workflows to an incident type or an incident type and an incident type group. With incident types and incident type groups, the first thing you need to create is your incident type. So you're going to create a new incident type, and we're going to call this contact management. Don't have any incident types as yet. I'm going to also call this incident type contact management and link it to the contact management group. We want the default outline to be contact management, and we're going to link our workflow. Which is contact management. This is not a PO incident type, so we'll leave that blank, and we're not dealing with contracts as yet. I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to click on OK. Now that we have our incident types and our incident type group set up, linked to our workflow and workflow steps, I believe we can now go and process an incident that requires a workflow. To do that, we navigate to Transactions, Contact Management, New Incident. I'm going to select a customer, and I'm going to select an incident type group and select my incident type. And as you can see, the system automatically populates the workflow and my workflow step, and it also populates my assigned agent. You can just put a note here and say please action, and I've got a user defined field here, and I'm going to say post incident. going to exit. I'm going to log in as Jade. And as you can see, under my desktop, my incident, Jade has an incident, and it's our contact management incident type. Now Jade is going to action this incident. Jade will review whatever information is here and calls the client. Just write some feedback. Called client. And then Jade can just approve this. And as you can see, we've got our little message there that says approve will change to workflow step 2 and assign to agent group warehouse. Be happy with that. File exit and log off. Now we're going to log in as Sizwe. And under my desktop, my incident, you can see that we have our incident there. And Caesar can just say send email and approve that. So this should now be with Brandy. Oh, sorry. Let me just log in with Brandy. And as you can see, there's our contact management incident, new action. Now Brandy can say that, okay, now I'm going to close this incident. And as you can see, our little message here tells us that approve will close this incident. So I'm going to approve this, and this will close the incident. Let me log in as the administrator just to demo how you then process a PO approval workflow. Okay, so a PO approval workflow goes through the same thing that a normal workflow has gone through, but the configuration is slightly different, and we'll see that you need to tick some of the options for it to actually become a PO approval workflow. So the first thing that you need to do is that you need to create your workflow steps. And as you can see, I've got my step 1, my step 2, my step 3. And then I also have a workflow called purchase order approval. And I've linked my agent group, admin clerk to step 1, warehouse manager to step 2, and directors to step 3. What I've done is that I've ticked the option, this is a purchase order workflow. And on my incident types, I also have a purchase order approval incident type. And I've also ticked my purchase order incident type. And it's also linked to my purchase order approval workflow. And that's that. So how do you configure a specific agent to always require authorization for a purchase order? First thing that you need to do is you need to go to your agents. So we're going to go to administration, agent administration and agents. And we're going to go to, let's say, agent 1. And we're going to go to our purchase order tab. We've set up agent 1 to always require authorization for all POs. So it doesn't matter if the purchase order is a value of 500 or 5 million, this agent always requires authorization. Or you can set it to never requires authorization, or you can specify the limit. Then the next thing we've done is that we've also allocated the incident type, which is the purchase order incident type. So if you've got, let's say, 3 PO incident types and 3 workflows linked to that incident, to those different types of incident types, you can set up your PO defaults per incident type. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK. Now I'm going to log in as agent 1 and try to process a purchase order. So to process my purchase order, I'm going to navigate to transactions. I'm going to go to procurement and say purchase order. And as you can see, right here, the system states that this agent requires authorization and the request for approval. So I'm going to just select a supplier and an item. And I'm going to request for approval. Now, we need to log in as Jade. Okay, let me just kill my evolution. You need to log in as Jade. and approve this purchase order. So let's say Jade's job is just to look at if the right quantity is actually ordered. So as you can see under my desktop, my authorization, Jade has a PO to approve. I'm gonna click on new action. And as you can see, Jade is unable to approve or reject this PO because Jade hasn't viewed the purchase order. But once I click on view purchase order and I review the information and close, Jade can now approve or reject this purchase order. And we have our message there that tells us that if we approve, this will go to the second step. So I'm going to click on approve. This should now be with Sizwe. And let's say Sizwe just needs to check the prices against the prices that they've gotten from this specific supplier historically and just check if it's actually up to that price. So Caesar can just click on new action, view the purchase order and review the price. Once Caesar is happy with the purchase order, Caesar can just simply approve. This should now go to Brandy. Okay, since Brandy is on the last step, which means that the PO has been followed up and it's been approved until the last step, Brandy can also just go and process the PO, or we can log in as Agent 1 and process the PO. And as you can see, she's been notified that the PO was approved. So I'm just gonna go to my transactions and I'm gonna open that PO. Let's filter by today's date. And as you can see, Agent 1 is able to receive stock or process an invoice. Okay. Now let's look at another way in which you can process your incidents. Okay. So some businesses work on time, and they need to ensure that their incidents are managed within a specific time. And if they are not managed by that time, those incidents need to escalate to the next groups or the next agent. So to do that, these companies use escalation groups. Escalation groups are fairly easy to set up. Got one escalation group here. My first escalation group, if an incident is not actioned within a specific time and that incident is linked to this escalation group, right? It will escalate to my admin clerk, and if in 1 minute my admin clerk group or agents within the group, if they don't action this, it's going to escalate to the warehouse manager group, and if they don't action it in 1 minute as well, it will escalate to the directors group. For your escalations to work, you need to make sure that your escalation services are working and configured. Let's look at the configuration. To configure this, you simply go to your SVC, which is your evolution services setup. The first time when you come here, you'd have to install all your services and then make sure that you start the service. So here I've just started my escalation service and it's showing as running. I've linked my database that I'm currently working on, and I've made sure that I've enabled escalations for this database, and I escalate using the due date. So I'm going to process an incident and we're going to see how this functionality works. As you can see, I've set up my interval to 1 minute for demonstration purposes so that it escalates all these incidents within 1 minute. You can also use your log to view any errors or see if anything has escalated. So if you have errors or you want to see if your services are running as expected and how many incidents were escalated, you'd have to come here and view your log. So this log will give us more information as we do our escalations. So I'm going to close this for now, and we're going to go process an incident that is linked to an escalation group. You can also link your escalation group to your workflows and incident types. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to go and create a new incident and link it to an escalation group. I think this is linked to this escalation group, and we're going to make sure that our due by date is for today, and let's say it's 4/33 4/38. And let's select the actual date, and we're going to post this incident. Once we've posted this incident, it needs to be actioned within the time interval. If it's not actioned, it should escalate to the next escalation group. Let's just do an inquiry on this incident and see where it's sitting currently. So I want all incidents from today's date and I'm going to click on OK. This is the one that we've sent to the admin user, and as you can see, this is now sitting with Jade, and Jade is the first agent on our escalation group here who's linked to our admin clerk group. Okay, so I want this to keep on escalating until it gets to Sizwe. So I'm just gonna refresh my system tree. And as you can see, this is now sitting with Sizwe. And when you open your evolution services and you view your log, you can see that this has escalated 1 of 1 open incidents. And we are happy with the results. So with workflow processing, we've gone through our escalation groups, we've gone through our purchase order approval workflow, and we've also dealt with just a normal workflow. You can also just post an incident and then select the agent that you want to send the incident to without linking it to a group or a workflow. So those are the options that are available to manage your incidents within Evolution. Next thing we're going to look at is Salesforce automation. So your sales opportunity is where you process a potential sale and you can follow up on individual sales, you can create quotations, and you can see all the related incidents. If you've used a prospective customer, you can convert them into an actual customer once you've won the sale. So the Salesforce automation module is mostly used by the sales department or the sales team. To navigate there, we go to Contact Management, Maintenance, and we go to Salesforce Automation. For your Salesforce automation, you need to record your competitors and your competitor products. So I've listed my competitors. Let's say as Sage, our competitors are Oracle, SAP, and CQS, etc. And the related products that they sell that are competed with, let's say Evolution, would be Oracle 200 or SAP Financials. It's fairly easy to add your competitor products and your competitors. You just click on Add and you specify the product name and description, and then you give it a brief description of what the product is about, what it does, and everything. And then once you've got your competitor products, you can then go on and link that competitor product to your competitor. So as you can see for Oracle, we can go and select and say this is linked to Oracle 200, and we're going to click on OK. Right. Once we've added that, we can go on and look at our opportunity sources. So you need to know where you got your sales from. So to record that information, you'd use this opportunity source window. We've got some sources that we have here, which is our Twitter, our Facebook, our email, and word of mouth. So let's say if I got a sale, I received an email from a client asking to buy Evolution or to get an Evolution demo, or they reached out to you via Facebook. To add a source, it's fairly easy. You just click on add, and then you put the opportunity source name. We also have opportunity stages. So this actually just describes all the steps that your sale opportunity has to go through. It goes from being a new sale, you have the first interview with the potential customer, you develop a solution for them, you evaluate the customer, you commit to a purchase order, you follow up on the deal, and you close the deal. So these are the steps defined, right? After that, you can look at our opportunity statuses. When you create a new opportunity, by default, the system will allocate it to your not started status. And as you progress through each and every stage that we've just spoken about, it will be under open until you've reached a resolution that you've actually lost or won the sale. And you can always reopen your Salesforce opportunity. The statuses that are marked as final status are won and lost. And once you select these statuses on your sales opportunity, the sales opportunity will be closed. Salesforce automation also allows you to add your prospective customers. So if I know that I've gotten a prospective customer, they're not yet part of my master file, I can just always add them as a prospective customer, and once they become an actual customer, I'll convert them to an Evolution customer. So I'm just going to add a new customer. Let's call this Global Sales. And let's make this customer's account manager Agent 1. And let's say Agent 1 doesn't want this customer to be public. Let me just explain how the account manager functionality works. Under your maintenance contact management, contact management defaults, under your Salesforce automation, you've got this account security field. Here you can activate your account manager security. This applies to your prospective customers and opportunities, if this is activated, you will only see only those assigned to them and those that are marked public. Administrators will see all. So this basically means that if you've got agent 1 and agent 2, and agent 1 is the account manager of that specific customer, and that customer is not public, only agent 1 will be able to see the information relating to this customer or that sales opportunity relating to this customer. The exception to this rule is that if, let's say for instance, agent 2 is an administrator, then agent 2 will be able to see the customer and all sales opportunities relating to that customer. So let's just go through our configuration before we continue with this. So I'm just going to go and check under my agents and look at agent 1. Look at my access permissions, contact management permissions. And as you can see, agent 1 is a Salesforce automation administrator. And then when you look at your agent 2, access permissions, contact management, and as you can see, agent 2 is not a Salesforce automation administrator. Right, so when I go back to my contact management, and I go and process a transaction, I'm gonna process a new opportunity. Let's call this sales. New sales people. And we're gonna select our customer, which is global sales. And you can see that this is now populated with agent 1. And I'm gonna untick public. And I'm just going to leave everything as it is for now. I'm going to click on OK. And then I'm going to just do an inquiry on this. I'm going to select my customer. And as you can see, agent 1 is able to see this sales opportunity. And this is the administrator, and I can see agents 1 sale. Now if I go, let me just clear those errors. Now if I go and I log in as agent 1, remember I assigned agent 1 as the account manager, and I've made sure that this is not public. So agent 1 should still be able to see this, but agent 2 shouldn't be able to see this. I've created this opportunity using my admin agent. So if I go and do an inquiry on this opportunity as agent 1, I can see this opportunity. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to log off. Log in as agent 2. And as you can see, Agent 2 cannot even see that customer because Agent 2 is not the account manager, and this record was created as private. So there's no records to view for Agent 2. Let's log back in as Agent 1 and complete our opportunity. Okay. You are able to link your quotations and your invoices to your opportunity. So Agent 1 is going to go and link a new code to this opportunity. We're going to select an item and say they require call center support, and we're going to code them. And as you can see, this is automatically linked to your opportunity. And when you look at your incident history, the system has automatically created an incident and it has the status complete because you've now assigned a code to it. But you still need to change your stages. So let's say this is now a closed deal and we've actually won this, and we can say we got this sale via Twitter, and you can select your projects and so forth and so forth. So I'm going to just click on OK. Once we've won the deal and have closed this deal, we want to now go and convert our customer from a prospective customer to an actual customer. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to click on convert to customer. And I'm going to click on yes. I'm just going to keep this as is. And as you can see, that customer has now moved from being a prospective customer to being a actual customer and is now on my customer master file. Now that we're done with our Salesforce automation, I want us to look at one other functionality or feature within contact management, which is basically what? Contracts. You use contracts to control access to support functions. First thing you can do is you can create a template. Click on add, and let's say our contract name is going to be email support. Say this is email support for a period of 1 year, 0 months, and 0 days. And it's a standard contract, and it will most probably cost you, let's say, 20,000. You can also link a contract to an incident type, and I'll show you how that actually functions when we go back to our workflows just now. So you can also link it to an incident type, but I just want us to not use that functionality now. Then another thing that you can do is that you can link this contract to an invoice template. And as you can see, I've got some templates here. To create a template, it's fairly easy. You right click and click on add. I'm gonna select the customer we just created. And we're gonna call this email support, and it has a value. And we're going to save this. Let's just add enter order number. Then we can save this. You can also link a contract template to an annuity billing configuration. So if you want to link your contracts to an annuity billing configuration, you can do this, and then the system will automatically bill the customer for you every year on that specific date. Okay, we're going to put this under my email contract. And as you can see, it'll tell me how many times over this period and how much the contract is going to be worth. So I'm going to click on OK. And as you can see, I've created my email support contract. Now I'm going to go and open a new contract for a specific customer using the template that I've just created. So I'm going to give this contract a number, the same contract reference, and I want my contracts to start today and end next year the same day. And I'm gonna click on this, invoice this contract. The minute you click on invoice this contract, the system will prompt you and ask you if you want to create an annuity billing transaction for this contract. You click on yes. Let's first select a customer. And let's select our global sales. And as you can see, my annuity billing configuration screen comes up. This is just so that I can review the information that's here. I can see my invoice template is linked there. And I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to click on OK. So it's now created a contract for me. And I'm just going to refresh my system. As you can see, now I've got a new annuity billing due, and there we go. This is for my global sales customer, and I can just go on and process this annuity billing transaction. Okay, that's all about contracts. Let's just exit and log off. Just make sure I've killed evolution. The next thing we're going to be looking at, and the last thing that we're going to be looking at, is Outlook integration. You'll find your Outlook integration under your Evolution installation and under your Evolution folder, and additional installs. This is where I've put my Outlook under my evolution, and as you can see I have my evolution Outlook add-in. Once you run the setup exe, this should install, and because I've already installed mine, it's giving me errors. Once that's installed, you can now use your Outlook integration, and you'll be able to action incidents from your Outlook to the system. You can create new incidents, or you can action an incident that's existing. And you can also create a new Salesforce opportunity from your Outlook integration. Let me just take you through the setup. I'm going to open my Outlook. And I'm going to go to my files and options. I'm going to go to my add-ins, and I've got my Sage Evolution add-in. I'm going to go to my add-in options. When you log into your Outlook for the first time, this is the screen that you'll see. In this screen, what you have to do is that you have to select your relevant database, click on options, you specify the specific agent that you want to use Outlook add-in with. So all incidents initiated from my Outlook will be initiated by my admin user, and my default incident type is going to be on-site, and my default incident category is going to be urgent. The most important thing that I need to set up is my Sage Evolution exe here. So I need to make sure that this is linked to the exe that I'm currently using for my evolution. I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to save this information. So your Outlook add-in is fairly simple, and the setup is really straightforward. So I'm going to create a new email with a new incident. So you can see when you create a new email, this screen comes up. This is my contact management screen. I can just send an email to myself. Say please action. Say I want to create an incident for our new customer. Sales, and as you can see, the system is pulling information from my evolution to my Outlook. Then I can say create a new incident, and I'm gonna set my incident type by default is set to on-site. It's fine. And the action that I want to do is that I want to post this incident, and I'm assigning it to, let's just use the administrator. Let me just expand this so that we can see all fields that are available. Now I can go to my incident detail tab, can link an inventory item, and I can also give this a reference. can link it to a job card if I've got any, and I can make sure that I've got my due date and say this is due by today at this time. This would apply if I'm creating a new sales opportunity. So the same thing applies here. You give it a reference, and then you create as new, you give it a description, you select a stage and the probability, and you specify if you want it to be public or not. So because we've got information for our incident, we're going to process an incident rather than an opportunity. But the same principles work. So I'm going to click on send. So you can see I'll get an email. Now I want to log into my evolution and see if this incident is actually there. So this functionality is actually comes in handy if you're always working on your emails and you don't want to go and open your evolution every time you have to create a new incident. You just want to create an incident from an email while you're typing a response to a customer, and you don't have to open your evolution. As you can see, there we go. We've got our incident, which is linked to our global sales customer, and it's got everything that we've selected. So I'm just gonna go in so that we can see all the details. It's linked to the default incident type that we've set up on our Outlook, which is on-site support, and it is assigned to the administrator, and the inventory item that was selected was email support. So basically, that's how your evolution Outlook add-in works. Thank you for joining me for today's webinar. If you have any questions regarding this webinar, please feel free to send me an email at sipesihle.mlangeni@sage.com, and thank you.